Have you ever been on the edge of a decision and thought, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if this doesn't work? That fear can feel paralyzing, which is why when I saw this quote by poet Aaron Hansen, it stopped me in my tracks. The quote is that there is freedom waiting for you on the breezes of the sky. And you ask, what if I fail? Oh, but my darling, what if you fly? Now that line gives me goosebumps every single time, because it reminds us that fear only shows us one side of the story, but courage asks us to imagine the other side. Hi, I'm Summer. I'm a keynote speaker and leadership trainer who has spent my career helping people lead with heart, courage, and clarity. I've worked for the Walt Disney Company, HEB, and even a ski resort. Now I speak on stages across the world, helping organizations turn chaos into clarity and burnout into bold leadership. So let's talk about the question, what if I fail? Well, it's a question that's rooted in fear. And fear has a way of being really loud. Fear is the voice that says, stay safe, don't try, don't stretch, don't risk looking foolish. And honestly, sometimes fear is right. If you see a bear in the woods, fear is there to keep you from trying to pet the bear. But in most of life, fear isn't protecting us from danger. It's protecting us from discomfort. And the problem with this is generally everything worth doing lives on the other side of discomfort. So let's flip the script to Aaron Hansen's second question. What if you fly? That question is not rooted in fear. It's rooted in possibility. What if the presentation that you're terrified of giving inspires someone to step up in their own role? What if the business idea that you've been sitting on is the one that changes your career trajectory? What if the difficult conversation you've been avoiding, I see you, becomes a doorway to a healthier, stronger relationship? Here's the truth. Falling and flying are both possible. But one thing is guaranteed. If we stay frozen on the edge, never trying, it'll keep us grounded forever. We'll never have the opportunity to fly. When I first started speaking, I was terrified. Terrified of messing up, terrified of bankrupting my family, terrified of not being good enough. I had all of the what if I fall thoughts, but I took the leap anyway. And my only regret is I wish that I would have done it sooner. Now, there were stumbles, there were late nights, there were mistakes, early talks that didn't land, moments I second-guessed myself. But then came the talks that connected, the leaders who told me that message changed how I showed up. And y'all, I was flying. And none of it would have happened if I had listened to the voice that only asked, what if I fail? So how do we move from fear to freedom, from falling to flying? Well, a good start is these 3 steps. The very first one is name the fear. Fear thrives in the dark. When we say it out loud, when we write it down, such as, I'm afraid this project will fail. I'm afraid of being judged. When you name it, you shrink its power. It's no longer the monster in the dark because you've brought it into the light. Now, step 2 is imagine both outcomes. Don't just stop with what if I fail, follow it with what if I fly. Write both lists, and you'll be surprised how often the fly column holds the bigger, richer possibilities. And then finally, step 3, take one small leap. You don't have to jump all at once. Sometimes flying starts with flapping your wings in small ways. Speak up in a meeting. Share one idea. Try one new thing. Courage is a muscle and it grows when it's being used. Because here's the thing, every single person you admire, every leader, every innovator, every change maker, they all ask the question, what if I fail? But then they dared to ask, what if I fly? And that second question is what changed everything. So the next time you're at the edge of a decision, hear both voices. And then remember that freedom, possibility, and impact don't come from standing still. They come from taking the leap. Now, if this message lit a spark, stick around. Every week, I'm sharing insights from the stage, lessons in leadership, humanity, and the kind of change that actually sticks. Whether you're leading a team or leading yourself, I promise to keep it real, relevant, and just a little bit rebellious. And until next time, don't forget, leadership starts with you. And you have got this. I'll see you next week.